Imagine losing everything you thought was important and finding yourself completely alone. This is the story of Emma, someone who was forced to face her greatest fears and insecurities. But did she find the strength to change? And how did an unexpected friendship transform her life in a way that no one could predict? Stay until the end and discover how her challenges can bring lessons that you might also need to hear. This story promises to surprise you. Emma always wondered, what would happen if people chose not to like her? Although she tried not to think about it too much, this question often echoed in her mind. She was an ambitious young woman working at a renowned marketing company in New York, and she had a clear dream: to be a respected and admired professional. However, her difficult personality and direct manner ended up creating a barrier between her and her colleagues. Unbeknownst to her, Emma had built an environment around her where few approached. Instead of opening up to others, she preferred to maintain a critical stance, which isolated her even more. Her interactions at work were generally cold and impersonal, and colleagues began to avoid her company, as if the space around her were surrounded by a sort of invisible protection. She noticed the side glances, the whispers around her, and the feeling of loneliness grew, but she didn't know how to break this pattern. Time passed, and the work environment became unsustainable. Emma realized that, even amid the hustle and bustle of New York, she was almost a point of silence in the company, a presence that no one really wanted. This did not go unnoticed by her boss, who, tired of the misunderstandings and conflicts she created, decided to take drastic action. Emma was called into his office and, in a quick and direct conversation, was informed that she was being fired. The news hit her hard. As she left the building that day, she felt as if the ground had opened up beneath her feet. Emma found herself lost, questioning everything she believed about herself. In her small apartment, surrounded by objects that now seemed devoid of meaning, she was forced to look inward. The loneliness and pain of that moment opened space for deep reflection. Alone, in an environment that reflected her own isolation, she realized that her attitudes had contributed to this situation. It was at that moment that Emma began to wonder if it was too late to change. She knew she would need to confront her own flaws and recognize the impact her actions had on the people around her. Determined to reinvent herself, Emma decided to observe the world around her with new eyes. She started to notice how small acts of kindness brightened people's days, something that had seemed irrelevant to her until then. Inspired by this discovery, she committed to doing the same. Small steps, like greeting the barista and smiling at strangers, were her starting point. At first, the effort felt forced, and people's responses were uncertain. Some co-workers looked at her with suspicion, while others avoided direct contact. Emma realized that her reputation was still a weight to be overcome, but she decided to persist. Over time, her efforts began to pay off, and gradually, her presence stopped being invisible. Emma then started to create space for more meaningful dialogues. Instead of maintaining her critical stance, she became interested in her colleagues' stories and began to listen without judgment. This new behavior generated positive reactions, and she noticed that conversations became more genuine. These small advances made her understand that relationships required patience and a true willingness to change. Slowly, Emma began to feel more connected to others and found satisfaction in this new way of acting. Day by day, she realized that true success lay in the connections she built, not just in professional achievements. With each gesture of empathy, she felt closer to people and to a better version of herself. When Emma thought she was on the right track, an old challenge returned to haunt her. Laura, a former colleague with whom she had many disagreements in the past, now held a prominent position at the company where they worked. Laura, resentful and skeptical about Emma's change, began to spread negative rumors about her. The new image Emma was trying to build was compromised with each rumor. The situation led her to confront her own insecurities, questioning whether she could truly leave the past behind. In the face of difficulties, Emma found support in Lucas, a recent and optimistic friend who believed in her potential for change. He encouraged her to move forward, even in the face of hostility and uncertainty. By his side, Emma felt a renewed strength, as if she were discovering a new way to deal with adversity. Lucas showed her that, to truly change, she would need to learn to forgive herself and trust her transformation process. However, Laura did not hold back and decided to confront Emma directly at a social event. In a provocative tone, Laura insinuated that people would never forget what Emma had done, questioning the sincerity of her change. Laura's words echoed in Emma's mind, and she felt her old insecurities return with force. However, instead of backing down, Emma found the courage to stand firm, determined to prove that her transformation was real. Inspired by Lucas's support and her own determination to move forward, Emma faced this phase with a new perspective. She realized that change was not just about proving something to others, but about accepting herself, with all her mistakes and successes. This understanding brought a sense of liberation. Emma understood that to move forward, she needed to be true to who she was becoming and not to the image others insisted on maintaining of her. The friendship between Emma and Lucas became a fundamental support in her journey of transformation. When Lucas faced the sudden loss of his father, Emma knew that this time it was her turn to be by his side. She realized she didn't need to have all the answers. It was enough to offer her presence and support. By sharing the pain with him, Emma understood the depth of human connections and the importance of being present, without judgment or rush. The days they spent together, supporting each other, reinforced the bond they had built. Emma, who once feared opening up and trusting others, now found herself offering the same empathy that Lucas had shown her. This sincere exchange of support taught her that true friendships involve accepting one another in their most vulnerable moments. For her, helping Lucas overcome his pain was also a reflection of her own inner healing. Emma began to apply these lessons in her professional life, approaching her job interviews with a new attitude. Her confidence was more balanced, and her willingness to listen and connect with others left a positive impression. She was no longer the rigid and closed-off professional she used to be, but someone who genuinely cared about the environment around her. This change led to doors beginning to open again, reflecting the transformation she was undergoing within. Now, with a clearer vision of what truly mattered, Emma stopped pursuing only professional success and began to value the relationships she cultivated. She discovered that, beyond any achievement, her true strength came from accepting her own vulnerability and learning to support and be supported. Emma realized that her journey of transformation was still ongoing, but now with a solid foundation of friendships and a deeper purpose. The story of Emma and Lucas reveals the transformative power of empathy and vulnerability. Emma learned that true success lies not only in achievements and professional recognition, but in the sincere connections we create with others. By accepting her own imperfections and being present for Lucas, she discovered that her strength came not from being perfect, but from being authentic. This lesson guided her on a journey of self-discovery and overcoming challenges. The friendship with Lucas also showed that mutual support can be a fundamental pillar in difficult times. Lucas stood by Emma when she needed it most, and in return, she became his emotional anchor during one of the most challenging periods of his life. This exchange of strengths helped both of them grow and cope with their pain, reinforcing the idea that no one needs to face life's challenges alone. They found in friendship a safe space to be who they truly were. This joint journey also emphasizes the importance of leaving the past behind and moving forward with an open heart. Emma realized that, to truly change, she needed to let go of the need to prove something to others and focus on her own acceptance. By choosing to forgive herself and give her best, she discovered a path of peace and purpose, away from external expectations. True transformation, as she learned, begins from the inside out. Emma and Lucas's story inspires us to reflect on the value of relationships in our lives. It reminds us that when we reach out to someone, we are not only helping the other person but also finding a deeper meaning in our own existence. If you have ever found support in someone or been a source of strength for another person, share your story. Like and subscribe for more inspiring content, because each interaction helps us build a network of empathy and resilience together. Want to know how small actions can transform lives? Subscribe now to our channel and discover exciting stories of overcoming, love, and friendship that will touch your heart. Don't miss the lessons from those who faced challenges and emerged stronger. Let yourself be inspired and remember, the next story could be yours. like, comment, and activate the bell so you don't miss any chapter of this incredible journey.